All right, good morning, or rather, should I say, good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. It is time for GM Philosophy Coffee Break in the afternoon. Welcome to everyone who's tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're watching this now or later. Happy coffee break. I hope you're enjoying a hot cup of coffee. Did you know, I read this one time, and I don't know actually if this is true, so someone may want to fact check me on this, but I one time heard that one of the reasons that we entered like the Enlightenment, and I think this would have been like during the Renaissance. Hey, Twin Steel, how's it going? Was that before like the Enlightenment, everyone was drinking wine and beer for like breakfast or whatever. But when they started drinking coffee and tea, like on a regular basis, in other words, caffeinated drinks instead of getting drunk in the morning, we started the like Enlightenment, like that part that was not an inconsequential part of leading into the Enlightenment. So anyway, super cool. Twin Steels here. Iskendarth, great, I think is how you pronounce it. Good afternoon to you. Profit Roll, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Smink is back. How's it going, Smink? It's John Haney. Hey, John, how's it going? I'm actually drinking coffee for my break today. And here's what I need. We need something to discuss. What do you want to hear me ramble about? Hey, Garrick, how's it going? I need something to ramble about. I need something to talk about to keep our afternoon coffee break interesting. It's a risky business letting me ramble by myself because I might talk about things that nobody cares about or boring things. I tend to be kind of a boring person. I don't know if you guys know. Any ideas for the next contest? Okay, that's actually a really good thing to talk about. So on our Discord channel, on the GM Philosophy Discord, we run contests. We just finished up a 2-page dungeon contest, which was won by John Haney. And there's actually a video that went live this morning with me reacting to and showing everyone the video. John, did you see that reaction video? I hope you did, and I hope you liked it. The GM guide is another really good thing to talk about, actually. But I think talking about the next contest might be a good idea. So here's my idea. Awas Arc, greetings. I don't think I've seen you in a chat before, so awesome. Good to meet you. What's it like for a forever GM to play as a player? Oh, that's actually a really good thing to talk about too. Okay, so let me talk about this contest thing real quick. So when we run these contests, my big thing is that I think to myself, there's all this awesome creativity, right? And this is like something that I have to like figure out for myself. I feel like there's always a part of me that's wanting to take all these creations and put them in like one place, like put them into one book, like make each contest be its own book, or maybe like take 6 contests, put all the content into like one book and then distribute it on the Discord. And I think about doing that because I think to myself, I want to like catalog everyone's creations, but then there's a part of me that says, no, GM Philosopher, stop it. Like just let people create things and then let it be. There's no need to like compile it into a book. I'm always wanting to compile everything I like into a book. So that's like a thing that I that I think about. Let me know what you think about that. Coffee and D&D. Smink said coffee and D&D trade social ramifications, D&D coffee shops. So in my games, I always describe coffee as being like, they offer you this strange hot liquid that's dark and there's a strange aroma about it. And if they ask what it is, it's like, oh, well, we gather these exotic beans and basically we kind of roast them and we make this tea from it. But the tea, it really enlightens your mind. It wakes you up. It gives you this jolt of magical energy. Like I never say the word like coffee. I just kind of talk around it until the players realize what it is. It's like, oh, he's talking about coffee. It's literally coffee. That's what I always do for coffee in my games. Profit Roll says, what's it like being a forever GM? So I love being a GM. I really love being a GM. And if I'm not careful, I will if I play too much, I'll just wish I was GMing, and then playing will get weird for me, and I'll get like bored with it. Not because the games aren't good, but because I want to GM so bad. But if as long as I'm GMing a game or two, then I can play and I'm satisfied with it. But if all I'm doing is playing, I just want to be a forever GM. That's the experience. That's what it's like for me. I just love GMing so much. It's so much fun. There's the like playing is a lot less pressure. I'm not trying to like please anybody or make sure anyone's happy. When I'm the GM, I want to please the players and make them happy. But anyway, so it's like I don't have that experience as a player. I tried to comment. John says I tried to comment, but my phone was being weird, so I'm not sure if I actually posted. Oh, I'm not actually totally sure. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at the comments yet. I don't think, but it probably posted. Iskandarth Great 04. I know I'm saying that wrong. I know that there's like a very common sense way to pronounce your name that it doesn't sound ridiculous. Iskandarth Great. I don't. Iskandar the Great. Iskandar the Great. I'll bet that's what it is. It's the old Persian pronunciation of Alexander the Great. Oh, I was trying to read it, and literally your comment, I was answering it, and I didn't even make it that far. Smink says, are you prepping a specific brand of coffee today? So no, this is just roasted. Like I do. Okay. So I buy whole beans and I do grind them, and I make coffee in a French press, and then I put Great Value Walmart hazelnut creamer in it. So it's like, it kind of starts out, I guess, with the potential to be fancy. And then I just make it, lo-fi, I guess. Runamuk says, hi, yo. Hey, yo, Runamuk. Good to talk to you. Garrick says, I'm working on a side quest for Lobies. You might see it by Xmas. Defend an Abbey library from Goblin tribes. Oh, interesting. So when you say Lobies, do you mean like low-level players? Or is Lobies something, because I've never heard that term before. And also, defending an abbey or a library, this makes me think of a library or abbey that's like out in the middle of nowhere, and then there are goblins surrounding it. No one can come to help because it's out in the middle of nowhere. So it's just a couple adventurers who happen to be staying there for the night, defending it from goblins, and it's like an all-night, sort of like a 13th Warrior type situation. I think that's really cool. Inventurology says, yay, good morning. Hey, good morning. It's not morning for me. It's actually afternoon. This is like halfway through my workday, I think, halfway through. John Haney says, I think the idea of compiling contest entries is cool as long as those entering know that it's happening. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. It's like another level of, I would call it, organization, and then also compiling it for later, because it would be cool to like start making like a library of past contest entries, which the Discord is kind of organized that way right now, but it's not like organized. Like all the stuff is there, but it hasn't been cataloged right. Twin Steel says, I do feel like DMing is the best way to play. I kind of agree. And I don't think everyone thinks that way. I really think like 1 in 6 or 1 in 8 people who are interested in D&D are interested in GMing, which is good as far as I'm concerned, because I think that makes it so that people who want to be a GM will have plenty of demand. I think it would be kind of a strange thing if like everyone wanted to GM and then nobody wanted to just play. Then it would always be like, well, I'm GMing, but I know that everyone here would rather be GMing. I think that would be kind of a weird thing. That would make D&D kind of weird, I feel like. So Profit Roll says, being British, I'm more into leaf water. Okay, I sometimes get into tea as well. Not as much, but what is your favorite kind of tea? Like, what's the best kind of tea to drink would be my question. Because I just got like green tea. I've drank more green tea than any tea, probably. Runamuk says coffee is a haste potion. Fight me. Yeah, no, that's about right. John Haney says, I think the idea of compiling... Oh, wait a minute. I've already read that. John says, and that the result is cool book that might be useful for newer GMs or have some neat resources on hand. Yeah, that's the cool thing, actually. I've actually thought about taking some of these dungeons and running like my core group through them just because they're like new. And that's another thing, is using stuff that other GMs have created is always different. It feels fresh. Sometimes when I create stuff all the time, it starts to feel like not fresh to me, because I think to myself, this is very predictable. I always make stuff like this. But when other people create stuff, I think to myself, oh, this is actually really cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. And it seems fresher. So that's like the fun thing about running other people's stuff. And so that's like something that I feel like would lead to me wanting to run some of these dungeons for my core group, which is actually really cool. Garrick says, have you tried a pinch of cinnamon? I have. I used to actually put cinnamon in my coffee. And I don't do it anymore, but I did do that pretty seriously for a while. For a while, I was like really against store-bought creamer, because I was like I had this like, how can I say this? I got into this thing where I was like, okay, store-bought creamer is really bad for you, so I'm not going to use it. I'm going to put just milk, and I'm not going to put sugar in my coffee because I don't want the sugar, so I'm going to put a little cinnamon. I did that for a long, long time. I've become a little lazy in that department, hence the Great Value hazelnut creamer, which is like probably the worst. If there's a worst creamer you can buy, that's probably the one. But it comes in a huge carton, and it's like $5. So that's why I buy it. John says, oh, no, I mean, I already read that comment. Here we go. Garrick says, yes, low-level characters. Okay, so that's what lobies are, low-level characters. Prophet Roll says, I love the 13th Warrior, and when people reference it, I'm always shocked. I love it, too. And the prayer, like, yea, do I, see my brothers. I'm going to look it up quick. The prayer from the 13th Warrior is epic. Actually, that movie is high-key good. I kind of feel like it's a timeless movie, to be really honest. Low there do I see... Oh, no, wait a minute. I got to find the whole quote. Lo there do I see my father. Lo there do I see my mother and my sisters and my brothers. Lo there do I see the line of my people. Back to the beginning. Lo, they do call to me. They bid me take my place among them in the halls of Valhalla, where the brave may live forever. Anyway, super, super lit. Very metal, in my opinion. Very, very metal. Runamuck says, I play in one game in DM, 2 on the weekends. That's a lot. Runamuck, are your games like 4 hours, or are you running more like 2 to 3 hour games? Because role playing or GMing for 2 games on the weekends, that's like 8 hours of play. Plus whatever prep work you have to do. That's like you could very close be getting to 12 hours of GM work every week in that kind of like a routine. John Haney says, or actually Garrick says PG tips. I don't know what that's referencing. John Haney says, my group of 5 players has 3 who have also GM'd in the past. I think only one of them prefers running to playing, though. Yeah, I feel like that's usually the case. Prophet Roll says, I usually stick to Earl Grey tea. Okay. John Haney says, maybe turn the contest entries into a quarterly PDF for subscribers to download for free. That's actually a super good idea. And that's like exactly kind of the thing that I'm thinking of maybe doing. So actually that's a super good idea. And that's like the question. Should we do that is like the question. And I kind of think yes. And I might put that in the next contest, like, disclaimer. It's like, just so you know, we plan to compile all of the contest stuff into a downloadable free PDF for people. We're going to put them on the Discord, and I'm going to send them out in email. I might do that, like distribute them, because it just feels like that creativity should go somewhere, right? It just like, there's a lot of people on my email list who would probably love to run that stuff, and I think it'd be really awesome. But anyway, Bushy says, what are your thoughts on non-traditional games dynamics like troop play or West Marches? As a forever DM, it's kind of helped me let go of my death grip over the levels of control. Okay, so West March style games, I have I really like that kind of game. My thing has always been, though, is really I've only always run for one core group. And so their like actions in the world have been really the only actions. So West March seems like it would be kind of redundant to describe my games as West March style. With that being said, I love the idea of those, and I have on occasion done things like run shorter plot module adventures for other groups in that same world that did have an impact in a far-reaching way on the stuff going on in my core group. And I do play in a consistent world state. Pretty much whenever I'm running games in my world state, which I call Regenesis, they're going to matter for all the groups playing there if they matter, right? Like if there's any overlap, there will be overlap. And then it will matter. So I think that it's really cool. I think the idea of letting go over levels of control is interesting because I think that as GMs, when we realize the narrative is about the player characters and that we are being amazing GMs when we let player characters tell their stories and we just arbitrate rules and we just kind of track like the pixels, I think that that's when the games get really awesome, but it can feel weird if you think to yourself, I should like have a really great story. And if I don't maintain some kind of like on track tempo for that story, I'm doing a bad job. I think that this is a misconception that we feel as GMs because we think that it's our job to tell a story, but it's really not our job to tell a story. It's our job to facilitate storytelling for the characters. And that can be a hard thing to let go of, actually. And struggling with letting go of that comes from a good place. It comes from a place of caring about the players in the game and the story and wanting the players to have a good time. So I also don't like to I don't like to get negative about that. Some people have this knee-jerk negative reaction like, oh, it's not your story to tell. It's for the characters. Stop trying to tell a story. But it's like, okay, the reason GMs care about that is because they are thinking that that is the best way for them to help run a good game. So it comes from a good place. It's just like, the great skill of trying to let go of the things that we can't control. And then understanding that it'll probably lead to a good place if you have good players and put good pixels around them. Smink says, what's your experience in GMing for other GMs? I usually am a bit on edge about doing a good job and I don't quite trust praise. Okay, so here's what I've noticed about GMing for other GMs. I know that they wouldn't be playing in my game if they didn't want to be. And it always seems like when I role play or when I run games for other GMs, they are the best. They're the best players because they know what it's like and they kind of know both sides of it. So the best, deepest role play usually come from other GMs. A lot of times the best immersion comes from other GMs. Some of the best characters that I've ever seen at the table have come from other GMs. And right now, in fact, in my core group, I think we have we have 6 people in my core group right now, and literally 4. There were 7. One of them is sort of on hiatus right now. But when I had all 7 there, 5 out of 7 of them were literally GMs who are also running their own games. And it's just so good. So anyway, I think that, to be honest, running games for GMs is my favorite thing. I think that GMs always take it to a whole nother level, which I really get excited about. Profit Roll says, fun fact, the Norse leader is the voice actor for Ulfric, Stormcloak, and Skyrim. Oh, that's interesting. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Whispering Wisp, hey, how's it going? I think running other people's stuff in some ways ends up being a tighter GM experience. Creating your own can leave stream of consciousness errors. Running someone else's can let you fix it. That's super true, actually. That's a very good point. Dungeons and 20s is in here. How's it going? I'm sure that's probably William, I think. I hope so. I'm playing in William's game on Sunday nights. That's actually right now that's my only experience playing right now is I'm playing with William in his game Solaire, in this Solaire world state on Sunday nights, which streams on Twitch. And we also publish it on YouTube, not on my channel, on Dungeons and 20s channel. I started writing a novel, like about my characters' adventures in that. With that being said, I don't know if I'm going to finish it because it's such a big undertaking. I'm not sure if I have the time, but I've started it. I'm like 12 pages in. I love writing fiction, but I don't know. It's a little labor intensive to turn a D&D game that you're playing into a novel because you kind of have to track dialogue really specifically. And so you have to write out the dialogue really, really, really well because the other players are giving their dialogue, and that is really sacred. Like I feel like I cannot change that, right? It would be it would not be a correct retelling of the story if you change the dialogue very much. So so that is like that's the hard thing about writing D&D stuff. With that being said, having it recorded makes it easy. It's just a matter of time in that case. It's just a matter of time. Okay, with that being said, PG Tips, most popular team Britain, Garrick said. Okay, so let's see here. Looking at these tips here. Okay, Inventorology says, GM Philosopher, I was chilling with a dude who wants to do a noir D&D, which is a really specific kind of feel. Noir has some pretty good tropes. Do you have any advice to make D&D games feel noir? So I feel like the best way, I have run games sort of in that genre. That's not my predominant genre, but I have run games in that genre. And so I feel like you've got to put a little more energy into explaining like the feel. I think that taking an extra 30 seconds in scenes to explain literally like the blacks and the whites of the room and then the splashes of color and what is exaggerated, like almost like you're describing a comic book. I feel like that is needed. And then also music choice is really important. I find this difficult to do in virtual games actually, but in in-person games, curating music for the game is really important to me. So having really good, a lot of times I associate noir with like a smooth jazz and then like a horror suspense ambience kind of feel with little jazzy kind of things. And so like cultivating that really good music is really important to me. It would be in a noir setting. So anyway, that's my answer to that. I hope that that's a good, I hope that that gives you a little bit of direction. Those would be my two big tips, but otherwise just go for it and don't be afraid of it. And then let the characters do what they're going to do and then see what happens. John Haney says that would be cool. Oh, okay. About compiling contest entries into a book. It's totally in the spirit of giving back to the TTRPG community rather than all the corporate junk going on these days. There is a lot of corporate junk. It's a hard thing because there's an element to where D&D is D&D is something that actually could have just continued with only one edition. Publishing new editions, I think, is a good thing. There is a lot of corporateness around it. And I heard someone describe one time, and I can't remember who this was, but they described D&D as being like, D&D isn't really a game. D&D is like thousands of different games because every time people sit down to play D&D, it's actually a different game, slightly. So it's more like guidelines for the creation of a game than a game itself. So it's more like when they publish modules and stuff, it's just like game help stuff, which is cool and awesome. But is it necessary? No. But does it help and make it better? Yes, I think so. But then they also have to pay the bills. So there's like a corporatization, buy, sell, trade element to it. And it just is what it is. It's just in order for the machine to survive, it needs fuel, and money is the fuel. Okay, so Profit Roll says, I think the story of PCs can be a great history for a setting, canonize epic journeys that past characters had. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I even have like elements of things in my settings where like characters players have run in the past are now represented. Like actually they became gods at one point, and then they just like even went beyond that. Now they're just remembered in like constellations and stuff. It's super, super cool. Profit Roll says, I'm absolutely loving GM Philosopher running game for us. Yeah, heck yeah, our game's going really great. We just finished session 3, ended on a big cliffhanger, have like 4 more sessions in this adventure module to running the haunting at Ashborough. Super fun. I love like haunting, demonic haunting type things, demonic possession type things. Super, super fun. Tabletop audio, this Benjamin Allgood says, oh, hey, Allgood, how's it going? Tabletop audio is great for online games and is totally free. Okay, I'll have to look into that because I'm still really challenged with this virtual stuff. Let's see. Dungeons 20s, he's running a game for you. Profit Roll, yep, I'm in the Haunting of Ashborough. Yeah, I'm running that on. Well, Friday nights, but as it turns out, we're running it like once every 3 Fridays. Like it's because I want to have everybody there, so we work around everyone's schedules. But anyway, Dungeons and 20s says my aim is to have you GM for me before the end of the year. Oh heck yeah, I would love to do that. We should set something up. We'll get it. We'll get it figured out. I'm really enjoying playing in your game though on Sunday nights. All right. And with that being said, everyone, I think that is going to wrap up this coffee break. I have finished. Well, I'm almost finished with my coffee. And I'm afraid that video editing awaits me, so I'm going to have to bounce. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for hanging out with me for another installment of GM Philosophy Coffee Break in the afternoon. I plan to do this tomorrow too, and we'll just see how it goes. If it continues to be cool, I'll keep doing it. If it gets a little lame or if it gets boring, then I'll just cut it out. But today was super lit. Everyone showing up and talking made it a very, very worthwhile coffee break. So thank you very much. And with that being said, hey, you all have a great day. I will see you all 6 a.m. tomorrow with the next upload. Roll a couple D100s for me, and I will talk to you later.